The Banking Association of South Africa, BASA, has hit back at comments made by the Minister of Human Settlements, Mmamoloko Kubayi, at a departmental press briefing earlier this week. In that briefing, the minister alleged that the banking sector was unfairly discriminating against lower-income households in their ability to get home loans to obtain a property and the dignity that comes with it. BASA says it's been working with the ministry to address making affordable housing more accessible to as many South Africans as possible. Well, to discuss this matter further, I'm joined by Bongiwe Kunene. She's the Managing Director of the Banking Association of South Africa. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. Just tell us what your initial reaction was when you heard what the minister was saying or alleging about the banking sector here in South Africa.
Well, I thought that the full information was not available because it can't be true that the banks would discriminate based on race. There are criteria that the banks follow when they lend out money, whether it's credit for building a house or credit for buying a car or any other thing. There's always a criteria that the banks would follow, and race has never been part of that criteria.
So over the past 30 years, how would you say that the banking sector has done in terms of supporting and facilitating the affordable housing sector?
I would say that it has done pretty well. I would start with the measures that if you look at the statistics, how many South Africans now own their own homes, compare 2024 with 1994. You would see a huge increase of home ownership, and that has been facilitated by banks.
So BASA has indicated that 48% of home loans are declined due to a lack of affordability. And at the same time, the banking sector has a responsibility to ensure that it lends money prudently. Just elaborate on that for us.
Well, this is in terms of the law. There is the National Credit Act, which stipulates how banks need to do their lending business. And in terms of that, affordability is in the act. And the banks would then calculate the affordability of each applicant. And if the person or a household qualifies, then they enter into a credit agreement with that household. But if the household does not qualify, there wouldn't be a reason to extend a loan when you already know that according to all your calculations and your due diligence, this customer is not going to be able to afford the product that we are selling to them.
Yeah. Now, in a statement that you guys issued following the minister's comments, you noted that there were a number of things that you think that the Department of Human Settlements itself should be doing to facilitate and widen the net in terms of being able to afford more for affordable housing to lower income households. Just outline some of those issues for us.
Okay, so each year, the Banking Association, in consultation with others at the Financial Sector Transformation Council, we submit a number based on the year's statistics that come from Stats SA or from the Reserve Bank. And that number will determine what is the amount that can be financed for the low-income households. And it is the same number. I mean, it is a shifting number because statistics changes every year. I am not aware if the Department of Human Settlements has interrogated that process because it's in a council where information at the beginning, at the outset, is made available and agreed upon. Then there are a number of acts and there's regulations. So in terms of regulations, you have the National Credit Regulator, which checks whether the banks have adhered to the National Credit Act, and it would be advisable that we have a sit down with the National Credit Regulator, the Department of Human Settlements, and ourselves to look at what has been done in accordance with that law, the NCA.
So, Ms. Kunene, I suppose at the end of the day, the banking sector alone is not the panacea to all of these problems. It needs, multiple stakeholders to get involved, including government. One of the things that you also mentioned in the statement is government making more property or more land available, so that people can actually get affordable housing. But also developmental financial institutions as well can also play a role. How do you see, how do you see all the various stakeholders playing a role to better address this situation?
It's a very big sector. It's also an open sector in terms of business. So all credit providers can support individuals who have a desire to own a home. More than that, we need a thorough examination of the framework for lending, because it's not about a person being excluded. It's about how you can include as many as possible.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. That was Ms. Bongiwe Kunene. She's the Managing Director at the Banking Association of South Africa.